Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is going to be absolutely bonkers. Now, the data is in, and today's video is going to be two stories. The first story is going to be on actual data reporting companies and how manipulated and how much there is a massive gap of discrepancy in the actual data. So I'm going to compare what HUD has recently come out with as far as foreclosure data. And by the way, you guys, it's double. It's double as bad as what is being reported on Black Knight. Black Knight is saying roughly 1.8 million households are behind on their mortgage. HUD, Housing and Urban Development, is saying 4.3 million households are currently behind. Double. Again, you guys, double the amount of households, more than double the amount of households that Black Knight has been reporting to us the entire time. So we have multiple problems going on right now in the housing market. Obviously, overwhelming unaffordability is strangling homeowners right now. But another issue, maybe even a bigger issue, is we really don't know where to get the data. We don't know where to go to get the full picture. If Black Knight is only reporting half of the picture, how can we trust them to help navigate us through the turbulent housing market? The answer is we can't. Now, I'm especially surprised with Black Knight, given the fact that they charge thousands of dollars for their data. But don't worry, you guys, all the data that I'm using in this video is free and it is linked in my description. And I would strongly encourage you, go to these links, review the reports. They are full of information, surveys, stats, foreclosures, rental houses. You guys, please stop looking at the headlines. Start digging into the data. Peel back the layers so that you're not caught blindsided like 4.5 million Americans just were. Part one of the story, data manipulation and data discrepancies. I'm going to compare what HUD is showing. This is their June 2024 report. Again, this will be linked in my description. So I'm going to compare this housing market indicator report to a Black Knight's foreclosure data right here. And I'm going to show you guys, man, the discrepancies in data is absolutely criminal. But this is a really, really good report here, guys. I'm going to start referencing this a lot more. This is a government agency, and they have a lot more data. And this is not even the full picture, but it's a much bigger picture than Black Knight. So what you'll want to do once you access this report is you can read all this stuff. It's actually very good information as far as the outlook on the housing market and what's going on with like new construction, new homes, existing. But I'm actually going to go to page 5, which gives us housing market facts. So this is the housing market fact sheet. This is by HUD. And this is really, really good, guys. I just wanted to say, first of all, the first column right here is the indicator. Second is for this period. Third is last period. Fourth is year over year. And the fifth one is when they got the data or the latest release. And what I'm going to do, guys, is let's go all the way down to mortgage, loans, and forbearance. All right, so basically everything under this line is showing us the distress in the housing market. But let's go down here, you guys, where it says homeowner households ability to pay mortgage. Now, first of all, let me explain how this data works. It's going to have in quotations what the data is. So the first thing that I want to point out is when it's talking about behind on mortgage payments, it's a percentage. You guys see that percentage there. When it says fearful of imminent foreclosures, it's also a percentage. Now, I did do calculations to figure out exactly how many households. Let me show you how I calculated that. I actually scrolled down to page number 7 right here, you guys. And where it says behind on mortgage payments, it is using 82.5 million households. And when we talk about the rental part, because I'm going to go over rental households as well, they're talking about 45.99 million U.S. rental households. So I wanted to show you how I'm doing my calculations. All right, let's start here, guys, where it says seriously delinquent mortgage. Now, this is in the 1,000 units, just letting you guys know how to read this, okay? Now, they're talking about prime, subprime, whatever subprime is. I mean, I wish we had a better definition. It's just saying conventional subprime, so that makes me feel like it's still QM, but it could be talking about non-QM. I wish I had a little bit more breakdown there, and FHA. So when I add all of that together right here, you guys, the total amount of households in serious delinquency equals 493,000 households on the verge or knocking on the door of foreclosure. So again, HUD is saying 493,000 households. Now, when we go to Black Knight's form here, under number of properties that are 90 days or more past due, it's saying 410,000. That is a difference, you guys, of 83,000 households. So they are missing what? About over 20% of the pie. You guys, that is a massive discrepancy in data. Now, when we go down to homeowners, okay, so this is homeowner households' ability to pay, and we go behind on mortgage payment, and again, this is a percentage, you guys, okay? This is crazy. It's showing not the low 3.04% that Black Knight said, it's showing 5.3% of households right now are behind on their mortgage. And when I look at that number, you guys, it really, to me, that is a huge indicator that unemployment is much higher than what's really being reported, because remember, delinquency tracks unemployment. So I think they're going to revise the unemployment rate up. Time will tell. But right now, guys, again, according to HUD, 5.3% of households are 30 days or more behind. And the total number, okay, so 5.3% equals 4.37 million. Again, 4.37 million households right now are behind on their mortgage. Look at what Black Knight shows. Black Knight doesn't even show 2 million, you guys. The number of properties that are 30 days or more past due is 1.82 million, which means, once again, HUD is saying that there are more than double the amount of households than what Black Knight is telling us. And I have a question for you, the viewers, okay? If Black Knight is missing half of the piece of the pie, all right, the huge part of the picture, then why should we pay them to use their data? And why should we trust what they're saying if they are not looking at the entire picture? You guys, in my opinion, there is no excuse for that. If they're only taking 1.8 million of the 4.3 million, then to me, it kind of feels like they're manipulating the data to probably push a narrative. What would the narrative be? Well, real estate's doing great still. It's resilient. So pay for our real estate data services. Regardless, you guys, comment below. Why do you think there is a massive discrepancy in that data? Why do you think? I'm interested to hear. Now, real quick, guys, let's go to the rental households so that we kind of see that, hey, it's not just people that own that are suffering right now. When it's talking about people that are behind on rental payments right now, okay, as a percentage, you guys, this is nuts. 11.1% of all rental households, 11.1%. So 1 out of 10 people that you see in the grocery store, 1 out of 10 people are currently behind on their rent payment. You guys, that's a total of 5.1 million households. I repeat, 5.1 million households are behind on the rent. Now, when we look at fearful for imminent eviction, you guys, 4.3% of rental households are in fear that they're going to be evicted. That is absolutely incredible. You guys, that is 2 million. So we got 5 million households behind in the rent, and we got 2 million households that fear eviction. And you're telling me that the labor market's great and the economy is great and the consumer's great? I don't think so. Now take a look at this, guys. Now, then we look at households that actually own. Look at fearful of imminent foreclosure. So the total percentage is 1.28% of households, or rather, you guys, 1 million people are afraid they're about to go into foreclosure. In other words, you guys, when we compare HUD versus Black Knight and we compare that together, the foreclosure situation and the distress for homeowners, whether they're new homeowners or whether they're old homeowners, is much worse than they're allowing us to believe. So let's ask the next question, okay? Why is this happening? Okay, and I'm not talking about the data manipulation. We can guess it's financial bias. They want to sell their product, whatever. But why are more and more households in fear of losing their house and falling behind on their mortgage? Now, I've broken that down into 2 reasons. Number 1 is reckless, toxic consumer spending. Let me show you. Now, when I say toxic, wasteful consumer spending, this is what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about credit card debt. Credit card debt is the worst possible debt you can get in. If you're only paying minimum payments, you're never going to pay it off. If you're drowning in credit card debt, most people cannot break that cycle. Most people that are in credit card debt are trapped with an inability to get out. They will just stop paying and they will let them go to collections. A lot of people could just file bankruptcy. I won't go there. I filed bankruptcy. It is what it is. But regardless, look at the trajectory of credit card debt. I mean, people are charging credit cards, buying groceries, not to mention the buy now, pay later catastrophe, billion-dollar catastrophe. But regardless, credit card debt, 1.05 trillion. And the trajectory, I mean, people are burning a hole in their pockets. And this is kind of where some of the inflation is coming from. Credit card debt is a source of consumer purchasing power, and people right now are absolutely utilizing that. Or are they really utilizing that? Well, when we look at the trajectory of delinquencies, we know that consumers are not able to pay their credit cards, or at least they're losing the ability to pay. Now, this data set right here is just as important as following unemployment. When the consumers stop making their payments, banks start going out of business, credit tightening happens, recession happens, unemployment happens, price goes down, interest rates go down, but it hasn't happened quite yet. We are on that path. Again, we don't have all the data. In fact, the data you're looking at, guys, is only going to Q1 of 2024. We don't even have Q2 data yet. When Q2 data comes out, I suspect that this trajectory of delinquencies for credit card debt will continue because the health of the consumer is getting worse. It is not getting better like we hear in mainstream media. Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? Let me know. But on top of the reckless spending habits, consumers and American citizens are just not saving. Here's the personal savings rate sitting at 3.9. You guys, that is the lowest it's been in a decade. Now, what I want to point out is pre-lockdowns, we're sitting at 7.2 to 6. So 6 to 7%, even 8% before lockdown. So we have a horrible spending problem. Consumers don't have an ability to save money anymore. People are using buy now, pay later loans. So problem number one is people aren't preparing for recession. People are still, and this sucks, the human nature, I wish I could save the world, but I can't. It takes the individual to stop themselves. But the reckless consumer spending, you guys, is one reason that we're going to have a foreclosure crisis. Unfortunately, and I'm a victim of this myself, of my own behavior, people are going to spend to the end. It is just easier to look away. And that's unfortunately human nature. But I'm going to tell you guys, something I learned, and I'm 40 years old now, okay? I bought in, when I lost everything on a foreclosure myself, I bought into a lifestyle that I was sold on that only kept me in debt. And you guys, I made a lot of money at a young age. I was known as a prodigy, and I spent all my money. I spent it to the end until I had no money left, and the recession knocked on my door and said, hey, you lost your job, you're fired, you can't make this mortgage payment anymore. So the number one thing that's going on right now is most consumers are just oblivious to the risks around the corner. Number two, the mind-blowing unhealthy economy. And you guys were like, what do you mean a healthy economy? And if you see comments like that, you guys, those are from rich people that don't care about us. Anyone that's not making or has $5 million liquid is sure as heck feeling the inflation. Seriously, if you're not, comment below and tell us why. Why are you not feeling it? What did you do to not feel the inflation? The fact is most all of us feel the inflation, feel the toxicity in the market. And the reason why we feel that is most of us are making less money and have been making less money for the last 3 years when we look at real, adjusted for inflation, median household income. Consumers are making less money at a time where expenses to live are absolutely ballooning. So let me ask again, how can this possibly be sustained? We see the trajectory of all these trends going in the direction of foreclosure, recession, pain, delinquency. This is the direction of these trends. And you guys, honestly, at first, I didn't think that we would lose property value like the GFC, but being that the housing market rebounded so swiftly in 2023 and into 2024, I mean, there's going to be hell to pay. The reason is the home prices went up way too quickly, way too fast. And right before they went up in 2019 to 2020, we were already in a bubble. We're in a double bubble. And that's why when it collapses and when it breaks, it's going to break hard and it's going to feel like overnight to most people that are not paying attention. But as far as the double bubble, that's the foundation. That is what the house of cards is built on. Let me show you. You guys know I love this double bubble graph. Now, here's the GFC bubble right here, okay? So the GFC bubble, oh my gosh, it's ungrounded, it's not in fundamentals, it's not sustainable. And everyone's like, yeah, it is, oh, we were wrong, it's crashing. And then prices got back to consumer purchasing power, okay, or CPI. And you see it was really narrowing that gap up until about 2012. This is at the point where the Federal Reserve should have stopped buying mortgage-backed securities, but they didn't. They kept buying mortgage-backed securities. They stopped that around 2017 to 2018. Now, right about here, you guys, is when the Fed started quantitative tightening or really combating this bubble. So right around this time, 2018, 2019, the Fed raised the federal funds rate and started doing quantitative tightening. A lot of people don't realize that. I knew that because I rebudgeted in 2019 because I saw the slowdown. So they were fighting the bubble here, but unfortunately, instead of this bubble going down, lockdowns happened and the exact opposite thing happened. Instead of the bubble getting smaller, it got bigger. So you can even say we're in a triple bubble. But regardless, you guys, this is the foundation of our housing market right here. No income growth and a massive double bubble. And I get comments all the time like,
Travis, you're wrong. You've been talking about this for 2 years.
But let me ask you, how long has the Fed been doing quantitative tightening? About 2 years. You guys, my channel has been following the Federal Reserve almost exactly. Actually, I didn't know what I was doing when I first started, but I started about 3 weeks before quantitative tightening. So when you hear those comments like, oh, broken clock, blah, 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 all these comments, like those are the people that don't care about what happens or don't understand. Either they're young or they're rich, but I'm talking to 99% of America right now, okay? And if you're wondering why we haven't gone into recession yet, why we've been in so much pain for so long and prices overall, have not dropped. They have massively plummeted in some markets. And you're wondering why though? Why overall nationwide it hasn't dropped? When I ask myself the question why, here's one thing that I find. I really don't think people are taking this into consideration enough, which is the national deficit. You guys, when we don't have this national deficit, we have negative GDP. In fact, remember, we had 2 quarters of negative GDP in 2022. And in 2022, the deficit spending was insane. You guys, we're year to date 1.2 trillion. During the GFC in 2009, we spent 1.4 trillion. The thing that I'm trying to point out here is this is so bad and so unnecessary. It's freaking mind-blowing. It would make sense to me for them to do deficit spending once we're in recession, not preventing a recession, because what happens now when we go into recession, they've already done quantitative easing. In fact, wouldn't you guys agree that we're going to go into recession because of quantitative easing? Would you guys agree with that? And so the solution to recession is quantitative easing? Come on, guys, won't that just make the problem even worse until we have a foreclosure wave and foreclosure moratorium that we can't even imagine? But the question here is, guys, is what's next, right? What do you do if you're on the sidelines? You're watching this video. Maybe you're freaked out. Oh my gosh. Well, the first thing is good. You should be freaked out because it's extremely toxic and extremely unhealthy housing market. And I'm going to tell you what you do right now if you're on the sideline is just be optimistic about your future. Work on your purchasing power. And if you lose it, don't lose it fully. You can always rebuild your purchasing power. I mean, look at how many hits that I took. I never fully lost my purchasing power, but every time I have a life event like I just moved recently, I have to rebuild my purchasing power. It's okay to lose a little bit of it. Just don't lose it all and never ever lose hope. And that's what you do with this video, and you prepare yourself to take advantage of deals of your dream. But you got to stay patient, you got to stay disciplined, and you got to uncover the true data. And another thing, guys, don't let people bully you. Don't let the people in the comment section pushing people around, bullying people. Don't let them get under your skin and get into your head. No one cares about your investment like you care about your investment. And no one knows about you like you do. No one knows your goal, okay? What I want for you, I want you to have confidence in you. And I'm telling you guys, real estate, it is hard, it is toxic, but you got me on your side. Now, I can't force you to walk with me, but I certainly can lead the way. And again, you guys, if you want to learn more about home buying, just take my free home buying course. It's an exceptional course. I put 20 years experience in it. I'm offering it to you guys for free. The reason I'm doing that is I just don't feel right about charging for it yet. I see a massive gap in education as far as home ownership. So this is my thing as a content creator that I want to do to give back to society. I hope you guys remember that. I really do. I'm trying. Lean on me, but also understand that I'm just like you. I'm a normal person. Yeah, I have multiple licenses. I've been through some horrible crap, but I'm emotional too, all right? I'm scared. I'm nervous. I'm all these things. But I'll tell you one thing. I am not a person that will allow myself to get bullied into doing anything. Now, other than that, guys, if you're out there investing in real estate, you guys already know I wish you luck, and I hope you win.